So when it comes to the brain, there are several popular myths that people believe are true, and one of the most prevalent ones in education is to do with learning styles. So in this video, I'm going to explore what it's all about, why it's a problem in business training, and I'm hoping you'll walk away understanding that. Ahoy, Peter here from Brighter Training with another video from our educational neuroscience series, where we apply learning theories and neuroscience principles to business contexts, hopefully helping to create better cultures and leaders. And this time I'm looking at one of the most common myths in training and education, the idea that we have a dominant learning style. If you're a manager or a business trainer, you probably want to generate the best results in your coaching or training, and one way that you might do that is through adherence to learning styles. Now, the theory goes that we all have a dominant learning style, and if we're given information that aligns with that style, we will learn and remember that information better. It's often referred to as the VARK model, and that stands for visual, auditory, read and write, and kinesthetic. So if you believe you're a visual learner, you think you remember information best if it's presented via video or pictures. Kinesthetic learners apparently learn best by doing things themselves or associating movement and muscle memory with the content. The idea of learning styles has been around since the 1970s, and you're not alone if you think learning is enhanced if you deliver the content according to a learner's dominant style. Studies show that the idea is accepted by over 90% of teachers worldwide. However, lots of people believing in something doesn't make it true. In the past, everyone knew that the sun revolved around the earth was flat, potatoes caused leprosy, and people would go mad if they travelled faster than 50 miles per hour. So where does the belief come from, and why is it a problem? So let's look at the cause. People like to create frameworks and models either to be helpful or because it's excellent for marketing. And in the 1950s, we saw Bloom's taxonomy, which presents a hierarchy of learning objectives. Then in the 60s, we saw personality profiling tools like MBTI, with people being labelled by a 4-letter code or one of 4 colours. Now in the 80s, David Kolb proposed that the learning cycle has 4 stages, which was experiencing, reflecting, thinking, and acting, and that was a lot more popular, but it had some issues in that it was a bit rigid in its application. In NLP, there's a model called the VARK framework, which relates to representational systems, or how people process and represent the world around them, both neurologically and in their language and behaviours. Now, while genuine NLP practitioners never claim people were one type, once NLP became more mainstream, the faux trainers didn't let the facts get in the way of a good story or a good marketable program. Finally, the concept was further simplified and launched across the education system, with Neil Fleming's VARK model being employed. You can even jump online and fill out a simple survey that tells you your dominant style. Many people also know about it from things like eye-accessing cues, which is the idea that your eyes move in response to the representational system that you're using as you process information. And this uses the same term, so VAK. I'll put a link here, and if you're interested in learning more about the topic. Suffice to say, it's not a hard science, and it's not related to learning styles. So with a combination of clever marketing, viral pop culture mechanics, and the fact that it seemed logical and was presented confidently, nobody questioned it, and it became a fact. In my experience, what compounded it was that the model used common terms that are used in different processes, so they're familiar and interchangeable. So the idea of visual is something that we understand. We grasp the idea of watching something. Many people prefer to watch videos to reading books at school, and we visualize things and therefore assume that that means that we are visual people. And people also get confused between dominant and preferred. Now, could you prefer to receive information a certain way? Sure. Some people prefer podcasts, others prefer watching videos, and some prefer reading books. We have preferences, but that is not the same as a dominant learning style. Also, how we take information in does not correlate with how it's stored. So for example, looking at a picture doesn't mean that the data is stored visually, and how you take the information in has nothing to do with how you use that information. And to demonstrate that, I'm about to put half a word onto the screen, and I would like you to complete the word. And I want you to be very conscious of just how you go about doing that. So are you ready? So 𝐸𝐴𝑙𝑖𝑓𝑟AGILISTIC is the name of a song from Mary Poppins, and most of you probably recognised and completed the word through your auditory remembered channel. So sometimes people say the word to themselves. Others say that they hear the music, and some continue with the rest of the song in their mind, so dum-da-da-da-dum-da-da, however it goes. Others even see a scene from the movie playing in their minds. Now, if you haven't seen the movie or heard the song, chances are you couldn't process the word at all, since it's only relevant in the context of the musical. But either way, while you see the word on the screen, which is read-write, you see the rest of the word maybe in your mind, which is visual, then you say it to yourself, which is auditory. Maybe you remember where it comes from, perhaps seeing or hearing the scene or the song from the movie, maybe even dancing along. So what system are you actually using? The fact is, right now, you are watching this video, listening to me speak, reading the words that pop up on the screen, and processing it in different ways. Now, while reading the transcript might not be as engaging, you don't necessarily learn more or better simply because you enjoy the format. So how is it a problem? Encouraging trainers to incorporate a range of different approaches to delivering information isn't a bad thing, but it becomes a problem when it's taken to the extreme and applied rigidly, such as only using one specific approach because of a misguided belief that it aligns with someone's dominant style. Believing myths about the brain and learning can have practical problems. Now, it can lead to judging people. I once attended a personality profiling session with a team where people were given their profiles which align with a colour. Now, for something meant to improve appreciation and respect, I've never seen such judgment and bullying, with people brought to tears and formal complaints being made. At work, belief in learning preferences can lead to people avoiding certain experiences or approaches. I've seen people miss opportunities to work on beneficial projects because they're not visual learners or they cannot be creative. And I've seen that learning is inhibited because people resist activities that they don't believe are relevant to them. A great example is role-playing and practical scenarios. Many people hate doing them, so suddenly, "I'm not a kinesthetic learner" comes up. It's not the learning style, it's the threat that they're experiencing in being assessed, which is a whole different problem. Now, in the same way, I've had people not take notes or complete activities in training because they learn visually and are happy just watching others. Another problem is the managers who buy into this. So while they get the concept of visual, they don't know what that means or how to use it functionally in relation to learning or coaching. Plus, they've got no experience or qualifications as educators and even less as neuroscientists. So they categorize people, which, as we said earlier, tends to come with certain generalizations and assumptions about potential, personality, and standards. They say things like, "Let's avoid workshops and practical sessions because my team of scientists is auditory and prefer just reading." And worse, it can lead to generalizations about people, supporting bias and even discrimination. So kinesthetic people are often viewed as slow or apathetic. Visual people are seen as energetic and extroverted, and auditory people are rigid and process-driven. Another problem is that it's yet another way to put people into boxes. We do it with personality styles, with learning styles, even with star signs. Instead of learning how to understand and respond to the person in front of us, we generalize and label people. Now sure, we know that the brain likes patterns, and it does this to streamline things and make it more efficient. However, when we lose the conscious awareness of the process, or the ability to question our assumptions, we risk our behaviours and beliefs becoming locked in, so we treat people in ways that don't drive success. And ultimately for me, the biggest problem with blindly believing myths is that it suggests that either people are not asking questions in general, which implies stagnation, or they're perhaps resisting change and growth in preference for comfort. And as leaders, if you think you know it all already, that is a massive red flag. And if you believe that your past experience automatically qualifies you to support and lead people through entirely new markets, societies, and cultures, then that's another red flag. So in summary, do different parts of the brain process different sensory data? Sure. Could you have a preference for how you receive information? Also sure. Does that mean that you have a dominant learning style? No. People may visualize. I tend to talk with my hands and physically point to images that I see in my mind, but that doesn't mean that I'm a visual learner. In fact, our memory is more to do with specific memory strategies and less to do with learning styles. So whether you're a self-proclaimed visual learner or not, you will likely get the same result as a self-proclaimed auditory learner in visual memory tests. And yes, these tests have been done, categorizing people based on their learning style questionnaire and then randomizing them into different groups to test their learning. While you would expect visual learners to perform better when information is provided visually, that simply wasn't the case. And while you may have a preference, preference does not correlate with how much people remember. In my experience, preference is often related to avoidance. So if I don't like being the center of attention, or I don't want to be judged, or I feel threatened, then I will tend to avoid activities which I need to work as part of a team or stand in front of people. If I see myself as a bad or a slow reader, then I'll avoid that activity, but it doesn't mean that I learn better by using a different approach. Now, how we learn is important to understand. You don't write on a computer with a ballpoint pen, and you don't try and connect your keyboard to a paper notebook. It's not hard to recognize that the best results are obtained by understanding the hardware and the software. So what's the solution if learning styles aren't actually a thing? Make your content interesting and relevant. Utilize neuroeducational principles and factor in concepts which promote knowledge integration, and use a range of activities that activate several parts of the brain. We can encourage people to reflect and apply the content to relevant real-life situations, and design and present your content in line with the PEN principles, so the psychology, education, and neuroscience principles, such as using the right balance of images and words, the use of stories, and mixing up practice tasks. Things like repetition, exploration, breathing, physiology, stress, and emotion will play a much larger role in your ability to learn than whether the content is presented as an image or through interpretive dance. And seriously, consider calling in an expert in modern educational principles, or question and get rid of trainers and educators that are not applying modern scientific principles to driving results, because misconceptions and neuromyths can not only impact performance and culture, but it can be ridiculously costly to your business. There are a whole bunch of neuromyths, from learning styles to people thinking they can multitask, or that people only use 10% of their brains. Admittedly, I've worked with a few people where I question whether that one is in fact true, but apparently it's not. So I might explore some of these myths in another video, but for now, the take-home message is you are not a visual learner. You are a learner. You can learn in many different ways, and the important thing is to focus on effective memory and learning strategies, practice new skills and knowledge over time, and question any assumptions or labels that people attempt to put on you. We now understand much more about psychology, education, and neuroscience, and the world is changing radically and at a breakneck speed. So social standards and rules, technology, globalization, social innovation, the environment, and as leaders, we need to really understand how people work so that we can create the best culture and system for them. And to do that, we need to question popular beliefs, be open to learning, and apply scientific principles to drive positive outcomes. Do you work with people who support this neuromyth? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in teaching your managers, trainers or teams about neuromyths or effective learning strategies, or if you're looking for trainers who can create programs designed with educational neuroscience principles, which will drive specific measurable results for your team and organisation, then reach out to discuss your needs and options. Our contact details can be found in the description below, and as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.